All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome back to Little to Large Music Studio and Arrangements. Again, I'm your main director and host, Alex Little. So, on this particular episode of L to L, we are going to address a couple of things. We're going to address the five five main points of the flute playing position. So, as you can see, I have my flute here, as well as we're going to address the embouchure placement and how to work on perfecting your tone, particularly for a beginner, and also how to start a tone. So what exactly do we use to do that? So the first thing I'm going to show you again is this flute is of course all put together. There's a separate video that deals with that. I'm going to talk about how to hold this flute, and hopefully you can see everything in frame. I actually kind of have a book open on my screen here. I'm in my classroom. I have a book right behind me. And so we'll talk about this. I'll try to explain this as best as I can. All right, so first thing is our right hand, opposite of you, goes to what's called the bottom stack of the instrument, the bottom stack of the instrument. So of course, this being the head joint, this being the middle joint, the main body here, and then this little tiny portion here is the foot joint. So where the middle joint meets the foot joint, there, here at the very end, at the very top of the foot joint, we're going to put our little finger, our right little finger. It operates this entire stack of keys there on the middle joint, but we're just going to talk about the top little key. That is one of our main points. We usually press that down when playing a key on the flute, but not always, just usually. All right. Then, with the same thing, we'll talk about our right hand at the bottom stack. We are going to go to the key right above it. So now we're on the main body, the middle joint, and we're going to put our ring finger on that key. Okay. Then we're going to put our middle finger on the next main key, the next main full circular button. And then we're going to take our index finger, the one we point with. Wow, look at that fast car. I'm going to put that on the next key up. And so that's where those fingers go. They never slide up. They never go down to other keys. They never flip-flop, okay? That's a bad thing for woodwind instruments. We never, ever, ever do that, okay? So we have 1, 2, 3, and our little finger is sort of 4, if you will, on that right hand on the bottom stack, all right? Our hands, and I'll go back kind of for a second. Our hands are always kind of in a backward C when we're playing most any of these wind instruments, okay? So they're curved, and we want to come down and play our keys with the ball of our fingers, all right? And when we're not playing, our fingers rest on our keys, always, okay? Now you'll notice, so again, if this is my flute and our head joint is to the left side of our body, and so the foot joint is to the right side of our body. So again, I just explained how to hold it. Then we have our backward C here that we just talked about. And you're just going to place your hands as so. All right. And then our thumb will go underneath to meet that index finger there. It's going to go underneath and meet it. And it's just resting there, of course. So those are our big points there. The little finger and the thumb are doing a balancing act with that flute. All right. That flute between our other points won't go anywhere. All right, so even if our fingers are off, which our fingers are never up like this, but I'm just exaggerating, our fingers are actually going to rest here. So let's go to our left hand, okay, near the head joint. Of course, it's not going to be up here. It's going to be on the main body, the middle joint. And this one's a little weird, so that's why I just start here. There's our first little key here, all right? And we're going to skip that little key and then press the next sort of mid-sized key. I'm going to press that one in, all right? So skip one, press one. I addressed this on my initial video for flute. Skip the next full-size key because we don't use it. We never press this one in. And press the next 2, and then there's kind of a little line there that goes to a key. All right, there's a little line that goes to a key. And that key is operated by our left little finger. All right, so again, skip one, press the next 2. Again, our fingers never slide up and down the flute. That is something we don't do in the wind world. Our fingers do not slide around. They are kind of married to these keys and they stay there. And in this case, they stay there forever. And our thumb, making that backwards C, is going to meet that index finger on the back side. And it's on a couple of keys back here. These are B flat keys and B natural keys. but we're just going to press the inside one for now. We'll talk about what the other ones do later. And so our thumbs are at the back. If you can see my thumbs and they meet, they're at the back to support the flute. So our thumbs are 0.1, 0.2 on the other thumb, okay? Our little finger, you can consider that 0.3, okay? It doesn't exactly matter the numbers. And our index finger on the left hand near the head joint folds over. It's an awkward little thing that it does, and it's actually going to support the flute as well. And it folds, of course, over its particular key there, and it supports the flute. So between our thumbs and our little finger on the right hand and our index finger on the left hand, this flute isn't going anywhere. So we can move it around all kinds of places. The fifth point is actually our embouchure. As we press in, we are helping to balance the flute balance it out by using our embouchure as another stabilizing point. And so that's the first thing I wanted to address in this video. Those are our 5 points for playing position. Okay, those are our 5 points for the flute playing position. Okay, and you could even consider the embouchure to be the first point, but it's not. It's kind of the 5th point. It's the last one. Okay. Now, with that being said, I'm going to actually, you can see I'm going to hold the top of the middle joint, gently twist and pull my head joint off, lay my flute down, and we're going to address the next thing, which is how to actually make a sound on this. So I want to start by mentioning a few things, 3 of them to be distinct. Playing flute and getting our embouchure muscles, which are these muscles here around our mouth, all right, the muscles used to formulate, to form up rather and play an instrument, in this case the flute of course. Our embouchure is made by doing about 3 things I like to always give to my students. We can think about cooling off food, that's one, all right. That food is hot. There's a certain position that you just naturally put your mouth in to cool off your food before you eat something, soup or something like that, or oatmeal or just hot spaghetti or something. So in breathing and releasing air, that's one of our main points. All right. Remember how to cool off food. That helps you. 2, I would say, is how to put on lip balm or lip gloss. That's a good way to think about how to play the flute, all right? The way you could sort of pucker your lips and the way that they form, so that's not releasing the air, that's forming the lips up, all right? So with that, you'll notice that your lips kind of make a frowny face a little bit, the corners come down a little bit, and they kind of go upward. Our frowny face. All right, so one, again, just to kind of go over it again, is cooling off food. 2 is puckering our lips through thinking about putting on lip balm, for some people of a certain age, lipstick, all right? And then the 3rd thing is, well, I guess 3 and 4 actually. The 3rd thing is cooling, using a bottle. Playing this flute over this tone hole is like if you've ever taken a soda bottle, a Coke bottle, a Sprite bottle, a tea bottle, any bottle or glass, but particularly bottles, and we try to make that humming sound in the circle of the bottle, boo, 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 boo. That sort of is what we do with this head joint, all right? So those things, and I'll say one more thing that I want to add as sort of an addendum, an extra little note here. We release that airstream using the syllable P or P. So as soon as I put this head joint and I'm over the embouchure plate, the face plate here and the embouchure hole, that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be thinking about those things, all right, to make a sound, to make a clear tone on this head joint. All right, and so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to hold my head joint up. All right, this is my left hand. So I know it's kind of awkward from the position of the camera. This is my left hand. because the flute will naturally, the head joint goes toward the left hand. The opposite part of the body, as we covered, goes toward the right hand. So close the tone hole with your palm, okay? Situate the flute under your embouchure, under your bottom lip. Now, you don't want to cover the entire tone hole with your lip. If you can see kind of the screen and behind me, you probably cannot. You only want to cover that tone hole, you want to cover about a quarter or 1/4 or 33% or a third of this tone hole with the bottom lip. You're sort of more so playing with the airstream going across the tone hole and slightly down inward. Not so much going directly into the tone hole. It's not played like a trumpet or a trombone or something like that, or a saxophone. You're not pushing the air directly in. It's more so across and slightly down inward. And every flute player kind of has a sweet spot with what's the best way to get a sound out of there when we do that, okay? A tone, a big, beautiful, round, full tone. So with that being said, I often have to remember mine. I'm going to do this for you, thinking about the things I just did. Puckering those lips, okay? Like I'm putting on lip balm. Thinking about blowing over a bottle, okay? I'm going to be thinking about cooling off food as I breathe in the air, release it. And I'm going to be releasing it with the P, the letter P sound, all right? Those 4 things. I'll do it again. Deep breath. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. One and 2 and breathe in and release it. All right. Next thing, we'll try to make the aperture, the hole between our lips, even smaller. Speed the airstream up to play a higher tone. And 1 and 2 and ready. And so oftentimes I will have my flute players that are beginners in rhythm and tempo with a metronome go between playing that low tone, release 2, low tone 3, 4, rest 2, ready, tighten the aperture up and go to the higher tone, 2, 3, 4, rest 2, alternate, go back to low tone 2, 3, 4, silence, and go back to the high tone, ready and high tone 2, 3, 4, and it's over. And so depending on if we're in the classroom, most of this is done for me in the classroom. It's a lot of instruments, a lot of people playing a lot of different things, and sometimes I do isolate the flute players just to focus on this. This is very important. You can't play a flute if you cannot produce a sound on this head joint. And when you have struggles, come back to just focusing on making a sweet, pretty tone on your head joint. Then we can talk about putting the instrument together and all of those things. So I hope you learned something today. It's been fun to kind of go through these flute basics with you. And next time, who knows what we'll address, the next fundamental, and we'll continue to build through this series on L to L. Have a good day.